Hamilton didn't just criticize Ferrari after Miami, he revealed a decision that may have cost them the race, exposed a pattern inside the team, and raised a question nobody at Ferrari wants to answer right now. Because while other teams were fighting for the win, Ferrari was losing time fighting itself. And here's the part that changes everything. Hamilton says he was faster, the data shows the opportunity was there, and yet the team waited too long to act. Not one lap. Multiple laps. Enough to lose any chance of moving forward. So the real question isn't why Ferrari finished 6th and 7th. It's why, with the biggest upgrade package on the grid, they still couldn't decide who should lead when it mattered most. The tension didn't start at the end of the race, it started much earlier, when Ferrari had a choice to make, and didn't make it. At that point, the race was still open. Not for the win, but for something just as important, control. Leclerc was ahead. Hamilton was behind. The gap to the front wasn't impossible yet. The car, at least for a few laps, felt competitive. And that's the key detail most people missed. Ferrari actually had a window. A small one, but real. Because in the first half of the race, their pace was good enough to stay in the fight. They weren't dominating, but they weren't out either. But here's where everything begins to crack. Tire degradation. The car started to lose performance as the laps went on. Grip dropped. Consistency disappeared. And suddenly, that small window started closing fast. Now imagine the situation inside the cockpit. Hamilton feels the car come alive for a moment. The balance improves. The tires are in the right window. He knows, this is the moment to push. But in front of him, his teammate. And behind both of them, the race slipping away. This is where top teams make fast decisions. Clear calls. No hesitation. Because when the window opens, even briefly, you either go through it, or you lose it. Ferrari hesitated. They let them race. They let them swap positions. Then swap back. And every time they did that, they lost time. Not huge chunks all at once. Small pieces. Half a second here. A second there. But in Formula 1, that's enough. That's everything. And here's the uncomfortable truth. While Ferrari was figuring itself out, other teams were executing perfectly. Mercedes had already made the decisive call that won the race. McLaren stayed clean, focused, efficient. Ferrari was doing the opposite. They were reacting, instead of controlling. And this is where Hamilton's frustration really begins to make sense. Because from his perspective, it wasn't about being let through just for position. It was about maximizing the race. He believed he had the pace, in that moment, to attack forward. Not eventually. Right then. And the team didn't commit. That delay is what he exposed after the race. Not just the decision itself, but the timing of it. Because in racing, a correct decision made too late is still the wrong decision. And Ferrari, in Miami, made that mistake more than once. Now here's where the story gets deeper. This isn't just about two drivers fighting. It's about identity. What kind of team is Ferrari right now? Are they a team that protects internal balance, or a team that prioritizes results at all costs? Because in moments like this, you can't do both. And Miami forced that choice. They tried to stay neutral. They tried to be fair. And in doing that, they lost effectiveness. And that's exactly what Hamilton pointed out, without needing to say it directly. Because when he talks about losing time fighting each other, he's not just talking about one moment. He's talking about a mindset. And that mindset is what could cost them much more than just one race. But the moment you step back and look at the full race, something becomes impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a Ferrari problem. It was a contrast. Because while Ferrari hesitated, everyone else made decisive moves that shaped the entire outcome of Miami. Mercedes didn't wait. They saw their moment, called Antonelli into the pits at exactly the right time, and flipped the race in a single lap. Clean. Immediate. No doubt. McLaren didn't hesitate either. They stayed disciplined. No internal battles, no confusion, just execution. Norris and Piastri focused forward, not on each other, and that's exactly why they both ended up on the podium. Now compare that to Ferrari. Same race. Same conditions. But a completely different approach. Instead of acting, they delayed. Instead of simplifying, they complicated. And in a race where timing decided everything, that difference became brutal. Because here's what most people miss. Formula 1 isn't just about having a fast car. It's about making the right call at the exact right moment. Too early, and you lose track position. Too late, and the opportunity disappears forever. Ferrari was late. And Hamilton knew it in real time. That's why his message wasn't emotional, it was precise. He wasn't asking for special treatment. He was asking for urgency. Because from inside the car, drivers feel things before data confirms them. Grip changes. Balance shifts. Opportunities appear. And when a driver like Hamilton says, "This is the moment," that moment is usually real. But Ferrari didn't trust it fast enough. And that hesitation created a chain reaction. While they were deciding, Antonelli extended his advantage. While they were managing internal positions, McLaren secured theirs. While they were trying to stay fair, the race moved on without them. And that leads to a much bigger issue. Trust. Does the team trust the driver's instinct in the moment? Or do they rely only on calculations from the pit wall? Because in Miami, those two things didn't align. Hamilton felt opportunity. The team saw uncertainty. And between those two perspectives, time was lost. Now here's where it becomes even more serious. This isn't the first time this has happened. Same circuit. Similar tension. Same kind of delay in decision-making. That's not coincidence. That's behavior. And behavior in Formula One becomes predictable. Which means rivals can anticipate it. If another team knows Ferrari might hesitate, they can plan around it. Force situations where Ferrari has to decide quickly. Push them into uncomfortable moments. And wait for the delay. Because even a small hesitation at this level is an advantage for everyone else. So now the story moves beyond Miami. Because the real consequence isn't 7th place. It's what this reveals going forward. Next time Hamilton is faster. Next time Leclerc is ahead. Next time there's a window to attack? What changes? Do Ferrari act instantly? Or do they hesitate again? Because if nothing changes, the outcome won't change either. And that's the part that makes Hamilton's words so important. He didn't just describe what happened. He exposed what will keep happening, unless something inside Ferrari shifts. And in a championship where margins are already tight, that kind of weakness doesn't stay hidden for long. And this is where the situation stops being just a race issue, and starts becoming a pressure point inside Ferrari itself. Because when a driver like Hamilton speaks this clearly, this directly, after a race, it doesn't stay in the media. It goes inside the team. Engineers hear it. Strategists hear it. Management hears it. And more importantly, Leclerc hears it. Now think about that dynamic. Two top drivers. Both capable of leading the team. Both expecting trust in critical moments. But in Miami, when the decision had to be made, neither was fully backed. That creates something dangerous. Uncertainty. Because next time they're on track together, in the same situation, both drivers will remember what happened. Hamilton will remember that he felt faster, and wasn't trusted in time. Leclerc will remember that the team didn't fully commit to protecting his position either. And when both drivers carry that into the next race, the tension doesn't disappear. It builds. Now here's where it gets even more complicated. Ferrari's team principal already admitted something important after the race. The pace was there early on, but tire degradation destroyed them in the second half. That means the car itself isn't consistently reliable across a full race distance. So now Ferrari has two problems, not one. A car that fades, and decisions that come too late. And when those two things combine, they amplify each other. Because if your car only has a short window of peak performance, you cannot afford hesitation. You have to be decisive, instantly. Use the moment, or lose it. Miami proved they're not doing that yet. And this is where the pressure starts to rise beyond the drivers. Because now the spotlight moves to the pit wall. Who is making the final call? How fast are those decisions being made? And why are they not matching what the driver feels on track? These are not small questions. These are structural questions. The kind that define whether a team can fight for a championship, or just remain competitive without ever truly contending. Now add one more layer. Ferrari brought the biggest upgrade package of the weekend. 11 updates. The most aggressive development push on the grid. That wasn't just about performance. That was a statement. A signal that they were ready to fight at the front. And yet, when the moment came to support that statement with execution, they hesitated. That contradiction is what makes Hamilton's words so powerful. Because he didn't criticize the car directly. He didn't attack the upgrades. He pointed at something harder to fix. Decision-making under pressure. And that's not solved in the factory. That's solved in real time, under stress, with everything on the line. So now Ferrari faces a situation that's bigger than Miami. They have speed, at least in phases. They have two elite drivers. They have upgrades coming, even more in the next races. But none of that guarantees results. Because if the internal hesitation continues, every race will follow the same pattern. A moment of opportunity. A delay in decision. A result that falls short. And here's the real tension going forward. The next time the situation appears, and it will, everyone will be watching. Not just the fans. Not just the media. Their rivals. Because if Ferrari hesitates again, it won't just cost them positions. It could cost them any realistic chance of staying in the championship fight. And that brings everything back to one simple, uncomfortable question. When the next critical moment arrives, will Ferrari finally choose a direction? Or will they lose another race trying not to choose at all? And this is where everything finally comes together, because what Hamilton revealed after Miami isn't just about one decision, or one race, it's about a pattern that could define Ferrari's entire season. Because if you connect all the pieces, the picture becomes clear. Ferrari had pace, but only in phases. They had two top drivers, but no clear priority. They had the biggest upgrade package, but couldn't convert it into results. And in the middle of all that, they hesitated at the exact moment they needed to act. Now here's the real meaning behind Hamilton's words. He wasn't just frustrated about being stuck behind Leclerc. He was pointing at something deeper. A team that, under pressure, doesn't commit fast enough. And in Formula One, that's the difference between winning and watching others win. Look at what happened in Miami. Mercedes made one decisive call, and it won them the race. McLaren stayed clean, focused, and walked away with a double podium. Ferrari had more upgrades than anyone, and still finished outside the top 5. That contrast is not coincidence. It's execution. And execution is exactly what Hamilton questioned. But here's where it becomes even more important. This isn't something you fix with a new part, or a faster engine, or another upgrade package. This is about identity. When the pressure hits, who do you trust? When the window opens, who do you back? When two drivers are fighting, who do you choose? Because trying to avoid that choice is a choice in itself. And Miami proved the cost of that approach. Now imagine the next race. Same situation. Hamilton feels faster again. Leclerc is ahead again. The gap to the front is still within reach. That moment will come back. And when it does, Ferrari won't just be making a strategy call. They'll be answering a question that's now hanging over the entire team. Have they learned, or not? Because if they hesitate again, it won't just be another lost opportunity. It will confirm exactly what Hamilton revealed without saying it directly. That Ferrari, right now, doesn't lose because they're slow. They lose because, in the moments that define races, they're not decisive enough. And in a championship where Antonelli is already building a serious lead, that kind of weakness doesn't just cost points. It quietly removes you from the fight. So the real story isn't what Hamilton said. It's what happens next time Ferrari has to prove him wrong. Because if nothing changes, then Miami wasn't the problem. It was the warning.